When Emily Carter arrived at the Florida Zombie Festival, she thought it would be a weekend of fun and costumes, but lurking in the shadows, Daniel Price had been waiting for the perfect moment to turn the celebration into a nightmare no one would forget. The streets of Sarasota buzzed with excitement as the annual Florida Zombie Festival kicked off, drawing fans from across the state and beyond. People of all ages wandered through the crowded avenues, their faces painted with grotesque designs of decay and gore, dressed in tattered clothing that looked as if it had been pulled straight from a horror movie. The air was thick with the scent of street food, mingling with the faint smoke of fog machines set up along the main stage. Performers in elaborate costumes chased each other through the crowds, their movements exaggerated and dramatic, adding a sense of playful danger to the night. Music blared from every corner, pulsing electronic beats mixed with eerie, distorted sounds, and laughter and screams echoed together, creating a surreal symphony that blurred the line between reality and fantasy. Vendors sold everything from fake limbs and bloody props to zombie-themed snacks that oozed red syrup resembling blood. Some attendees posed for photos in front of murals painted with horrifying scenes, while others wandered alone, absorbing the chaotic spectacle in silence. Yet, amid the celebration, there were subtle signs that not everything was as innocent as it appeared. A few onlookers moved through the crowd with a natural stillness, observing rather than participating, their eyes scanning and calculating. They seemed out of place, and while no one paid them much attention at first, their presence added an unspoken tension beneath the surface. As dusk approached, the festival's energy shifted slightly. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows that crept across the streets and alleyways. The laughter and music continued, but the darkening sky made costumes and makeup appear more lifelike, and the line between playful terror and real danger felt thinner than ever. People began taking photos and posting videos on social media, eager to document their ghoulish transformations and share the excitement. Amid the crowd, friends laughed and children chased each other in fake zombie chases, oblivious to the strange watchers at the edges. The combination of shadows, costumes, and uncontrolled energy created a perfect storm where anything could happen unnoticed. No one could predict that this lively celebration, full of imagination and theatrics, was on the brink of transforming into something much darker, a night that would haunt the city long after the last zombie shambled away. As twilight settled over Sarasota, the festival took on a more eerie tone. The shadows of costumed participants stretched across the streets, twisting with the dim glow of streetlights and the flashing neon from vendor booths. What had been a cheerful celebration now carried an undercurrent of unease, though most attendees were too caught up in the spectacle to notice. The staged zombie chases and fake blood displays blended seamlessly with the darkness, making it almost impossible to tell where fantasy ended and reality began. Suddenly, near one of the main stages, a crowd began to gather, their excitement turning to confusion and then fear. A body had been discovered, lying among discarded props and empty snack wrappers. At first, festival goers assumed it was part of the performance, a staged prank meant to shock, but as police moved in and cordoned off the area, it became terrifyingly clear that this was no act. The victim's injuries were real, starkly contrasting with the playful gore all around. Panic rippled through the crowd as attendees pushed against one another, desperate to see what had happened while trying to move away from the scene. The atmosphere shifted instantly, from festive to tense, as whispers and speculation spread faster than the flashing lights of emergency vehicles. Police began interviewing witnesses, but the chaos made it difficult to get clear information. Some had seen a figure moving oddly among the costumed crowd, blending in perfectly, but no one could describe them clearly. The realization that the murderer had been hiding in plain sight sent shivers through the authorities and the public alike. Meanwhile, the festival, once a celebration of horror and fantasy, now felt like a trap, with every shadow potentially hiding danger. Attendees hurriedly snapped photos and videos, their devices capturing what they couldn't fully comprehend, the beginning of a nightmare. Authorities closed off sections of the festival, but the news spread quickly on social media, drawing more onlookers and adding to the confusion. What had started as a weekend of playful scares had turned into a real investigation, and everyone present understood, whether consciously or not, that their fun had been shattered. Behind the colorful masks and fake blood, something sinister had revealed itself, marking the first step in a chilling chain of events that would haunt the city and leave its residents questioning the safety of even the most innocent celebrations. The festival had become a scene of real terror, and the line between pretend horror and deadly reality had been crossed. As investigators dug deeper, the layers behind the shocking murder began to surface. The young victim, who had arrived at the festival full of excitement, had left behind more than just a trail of social media posts and friends' memories. Authorities discovered that she had been involved in researching ways to make her zombie-themed videos more realistic, experimenting with special effects that simulated injuries, fake blood, and even chemical compounds designed to create eerie skin textures. It appeared innocent at first, just a creative pursuit, but police soon uncovered messages exchanged with a man who shared an unhealthy obsession with the undead. His fascination had escalated into something dangerous. The messages hinted at manipulation and coercion, a subtle encouragement to push the boundaries of realism. Slowly, a disturbing picture emerged. The festival, with its chaos and costumes, had provided the perfect cover for someone who wanted to operate without drawing attention. The murderer had been careful, observing, choosing the right moments when the crowd was distracted, and blending seamlessly into the sea of painted faces. Investigators began reviewing years of festival footage and found patterns that had previously gone unnoticed. Certain individuals had disappeared under mysterious circumstances after attending past events, and the similarities suggested the killer had used the festival repeatedly as a hunting ground. The discovery was chilling. What had seemed like random, isolated incidents were part of a calculated plan. Authorities realized the danger wasn't just in the murder of one person, it was the existence of a predator who had studied the event, understood the flow of crowds, and exploited the festival's chaotic energy to target victims. The young woman's experimentation had unknowingly put her in direct contact with someone who saw the combination of fear, costumes, and spectacle as an opportunity. As the investigation continued, the festival's organizers were forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. Their beloved event, celebrated for years as a fun and harmless attraction, had been infiltrated by someone with deadly intentions. Every shadowed alley, every corner of the crowded streets, every moment when the crowd's attention was diverted could have been a potential trap. The revelation left the community shaken. What had once been a weekend of fantasy and playful terror now carried a new, real-life horror. The line between imagination and reality had been crossed, and the festival would never feel the same again, forever marked by the sinister motives that had hidden behind painted faces and laughter. Days after the shocking murder, investigators uncovered a lead that would deepen the horror surrounding the festival. A tip led them to an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of the city, a place long rumored to be the haunt of thrill seekers and urban explorers. The building was dark, its walls crumbling, and the air inside thick with dust and decay. Inside, the police discovered a hidden room, sealed off and nearly invisible to anyone who didn't know where to look. The room was a chilling shrine to obsession. Sketches of grotesque zombies covered the walls, drawn with meticulous detail, depicting imagined attacks that mirrored the chaos of the festival itself. On tables and shelves, containers held chemicals, fake blood, and prosthetic body parts. At first, it looked like the workspace of a particularly devoted fan, but further inspection revealed the horrifying truth. Many of the items belonged to real victims. Personal belongings, phones, wallets, even clothing were arranged deliberately, as if cataloged for some dark purpose. The implication was clear. The killer had been using the festival for years as a hunting ground, selecting victims who could blend in among the costumed crowds. The sheer planning behind the act sent shockwaves through the investigative team. Evidence suggested that the murderer had studied the layout of the festival, the flow of attendees, and the timing of performances to maximize opportunity. Every year, he had returned, exploiting the chaos to isolate targets without detection. The realization was terrifying. What the public had thought of as a harmless celebration had been the backdrop for a predator's long-running scheme. Police combed through the room carefully, uncovering a trail of messages, recordings, and props that linked directly back to the victims. Each discovery added another layer to the horrifying picture, confirming that the festival had not been random, but part of a calculated pattern. Outside, the community reeled from the news. Parents, performers, and attendees struggled to reconcile the joyous memories of past festivals with the knowledge that someone had been using their celebration as a mask for murder. Organizers faced scrutiny for security lapses, while authorities worked to ensure such exploitation could never happen again. The dark secrets hidden in that abandoned warehouse became a chilling reminder of how closely fantasy and danger can intertwine, and how quickly a festive, colorful celebration can turn into a scene of unimaginable horror. Even long after the doors were boarded up and evidence collected, the shadow of the murderer's actions lingered, haunting both the streets of Sarasota and the memories of all who had been there. The arrest of the perpetrator shocked the entire state of Florida. Authorities revealed that he was a man in his late 40s, known to some locals for his eccentric fascination with zombie culture and horror films. Beneath his quiet, unassuming exterior, he had meticulously planned every attack, exploiting the chaos of the festival to select victims who could disappear without immediate notice. During interrogation, he confessed to years of premeditated crimes, admitting that the festival had provided the perfect cover for his obsession. The confession left law enforcement and the public reeling. It was hard to comprehend how someone could live among the community for so long, hiding a predatory nature behind a mask of harmless enthusiasm. In the aftermath, festival organizers faced difficult decisions. Security measures were completely overhauled, including mandatory bag checks, controlled entry points, and surveillance enhancements. Attendees were warned that what had once been a playful and carefree environment could no longer be assumed safe. For the local community, the revelation was bitter. Memories of laughter, music, and playful scares were now overshadowed by fear and mistrust. Residents questioned how many other seemingly innocent events might hide danger, and parents kept their children away from what had once been a beloved tradition. Yet, amidst the fear, there was a sense of relief that the long nightmare had finally been brought to an end. The victims' families found some closure knowing the person responsible had been caught, though the scars of the tragedy could never fully heal. News outlets across the country covered the story, highlighting the unusual and disturbing nature of the crimes. Experts warned about the vulnerability of large public events and how easily an obsessed individual could exploit crowds. As the Florida Zombie Festival returned in subsequent years, it carried a heavier, more cautious atmosphere. Attendees still wore makeup and costumes, but the shadows no longer seemed innocent. The story of that horrific weekend became a cautionary tale, a reminder that danger can hide behind the most colorful and chaotic celebrations. Even years later, survivors and locals recalled the terror and the uncertainty, the way normal fun had slipped into nightmare without warning. The festival, once a symbol of playful horror and community excitement, had been indelibly changed. It stood as a chilling lesson in vigilance, the fragile line between fantasy and reality, and the dark potential lurking beneath even the most innocent-seeming traditions.